In this video, we're going to be simplifying a ratio of polynomials by factoring with a quadratic. That's this looking thing. It's a trinomial with a leading coefficient of 1, so no number out front. But it is a quadratic. Okay, so looking at this first problem, the x minus 6 cannot be factored at all. So we leave it alone for now. Okay, we look at the bottom. We need to factor this, so we're looking for factors of negative 30 that add up to the middle number on bottom, which is, well, there is no middle number here, right? So we'll put a 1, so it's negative 1. Okay, so factors of negative 30 multiplies to get negative 30, adds to get negative 1. And remember, to multiply to get a negative number, one number has to be positive, one number has to be negative. Okay, so if it's 1 and 30, you got to write it both ways. That doesn't work. That doesn't add to negative 1. So 2 and 15. That still doesn't work. 3 and 10 seem to be getting closer. That still doesn't work because we're trying to add to get negative 1. And then 5 and 6. Okay, and one of those works. It is this one. 5 times negative 6 gives us negative 30. But if we add these two up, we get a negative 1. Okay, so the bottom becomes x plus 5 and x minus 6. Okay, so now we need to reduce. Notice that we have an x minus 6 on top and bottom. Okay, this is very important, what I'm about to say next. Since everything reduced up here in the numerator, you can't just not write anything in the numerator. And your answer is definitely not just x plus 5. If everything reduces up here in the numerator, you have to still put a 1 up there in its place because it still is a fraction. Okay, and the x plus 5, which is what's remaining in the denominator, is what goes on bottom. Okay, so a common mistake I see is when everything cancels out like this, you say, oh, everything canceled out, it's just x plus 5, that's my answer. No, because the x plus 5 is on bottom of the fraction, so it's 1 over x plus 5. Be careful about that. Okay, let's look at this second problem. So the bottom looks like it can't be factored. So we'll say v plus 6 remains there. Now on the top, we're looking for factors of 36 that add up to get 12. Okay, so remember everything's positive. So we're trying to get a positive number, so everything's positive. So 1 and 36, that doesn't work. That adds to 37. 2 and 18, that adds to 20. Doesn't work. 3 and 12. 3 and 12, that's 15. Doesn't work. 4 and 9, that's close. These add up to 12. This adds up to 13. How about 6 and 6? 6 and 6 works. 6 plus 6 is 12. It's this number. And 6 times 6 is 36, which is that number right there. Okay, so this factors into v plus 6 times v plus 6. You could also write that as v plus 6 squared. Okay. Notice that there's a factor on top and bottom that cancel out. Okay. Now this is important, what I'm about to say. When everything cancels out in the denominator, you do not still have to write something down there. That's only in the numerator. See, up here where everything canceled in the numerator, you still had to put a 1 there. But when that happens in the denominator like this and everything cancels, you don't have to put anything on bottom of the fraction. In fact, there is no more fraction. Okay. So the fraction just completely goes away when the denominator goes away, and we're left with v plus 6 as our final answer. And that's it.